is up, RotoGrinders? I get all technical. It's a baseball show. Despite TJ is giving me the business in the chat, says the reason why we're a minute or so late. I would not shut up. I have to call out TJ. He wants the people to think this is a solo ship. I am not JM to win, and that is not Squirrel Patrol. They probably just recorded that earlier today, I presume. TJ,
wow. Feel free to confirm. Wow, TJ.
How about that? How about them apples?
But you got me. That's my bad.
Is that available for download? Is that available on the YouTube?
Now streaming on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
There you go. I do love that show. One of my favorite shows to listen to in the RG community, the Jam to Win Squirrel Patrol song show, in part because they focus on single entry, 3-entry max stuff. Of course, they branch out from that, but that's kind of our wheelhouse, right? Myself and Tim, Tasteful Tides, single entry specialist, 3-entry max specialist, cash game specialist. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but Tim, I think I would imagine you give that a gander, you give that a listen. Are you a fan? You want to also put the stamp on it? I'm forcing it your way.
Yeah, no, I've been listening to that show, I think, for like 2 or 3 years now. That is definitely a staple of mine for NFL content. Really like both of those guys, and really like, listening to some single entry and 3 max strategy stuff.
There will always be like one thing in that show where it's like, you know what? I did not consider that angle. I did not consider that. Always a thoughtful, good conversation. Shannon in chat. What's up, chat? Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn those notifications. Yeah, Shannon says, like, why are the White Sox still rolling out Crochet? Like, I don't know. What is the upside? They're doing it. They're still only like 70 games out of first place or whatever they are. And we're getting the season debut of Jacob deGrom, which I guess cool. But, I don't know what the upside of that is. We also have the season debut of Rocker for Texas. I think Scherzer pitches tomorrow as well. If not tomorrow, sometime over the weekend. But Texas is basically out of it. But I suppose if deGrom's worked his way back, let's give him a chance to take on some major leaguers. I was watching his tape, or not tape, but some of his minor league stuff was the Pitching Ninja on the Twitter. He looks locked in. The issue with him, of course, is the pitch count. I think we're projecting around 65 or 70, which I guess he can strike out 8 or 9. I suppose he can do that. Well, what's 3? Like, 3 times 3 strikes. Yeah, 3 times 27. Could he have a complete game? No, they wouldn't let him go 9. But yeah, I guess there's a chance he could strike out 9 or 10, I suppose. By the way, Kevin Roth, there is a dicey game out there, potentially dicey. I know it's been pretty clean, smooth sailing weather-wise the last, week or two. Tonight we actually have something to monitor. Roth even told you, basically the entire series, LA in Atlanta, could be dicey. Last I saw was yellow-orange. I'm giving that a refresh. Yeah, still yellow-orange. I'll let you guys read this at your own leisure. We'll go ahead and drop it in the chat. It is a Friday. Sometimes on Friday, typically on Friday, we give away one of our, piece of content, a free piece of content. Today, we're just going to run a contest. We're going to run a contest in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Does not cost you anything to get in that contest. If you finish first in that contest, you get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. If you do so while wearing the RotoGrinders badge, 2 weeks free of RG Premium. Tim, we have a big slate, Coors slate. Beyond Coors, there's not a lot of amazing spots as far as hitting. I think there's only 1 or 2 other places that have a 5 total, and it's barely a 5 total. The Cubbies in Colorado, some good pitchers, and it's a weird one. I don't. How do you feel? Confident right now? Do you have this is my definitive plan? This is what I'm doing tonight? I'm still kind of figuring it out. I don't know. I have a concept of a plan, but I've not yet figured out how to execute it. How about yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely do not have a firm plan for single entry or cash games. I mean, we really got to start talking about Dylan Cease here. He's projected as the best pitcher on the slate, but he has been just so awful lately. Normally I want to attack the Giants with these high K, righties like Dylan Cease, but that's kind of sketchy because he has not been very good at all. And then we have guys like Kikuchi. We got guys like, like you talked about Jacob deGrom against the Mariners, you know, only projected for like 65 pitches, but he could definitely get you 20 points, I think, with ease. Okay, so I think he's definitely. I really like Bailey Ober, and then I really got to look into this Brady Basso guy. Min price 4K on DK, 6K on FanDuel, projected for around 75 pitches. You know, against the White Sox, like we have a lot of bats that we can pay up for on this slate. So I mean, he is firmly in play. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of different ways you can go about cash games and large field GPPs on the slate. Like there's just a lot of different ways you can go. Stephen Kwan has been scratched, just so everybody knows. That just came across the Twitter feed. So yeah, Stephen Kwan is out.
You're still not playing Zach Littell.
Definitely not playing Zach Littell. He is not somebody that I was considering. I actually have a little bit of interest in Kevin Gausman at 8K, and he's gonna be under 10% owned too. I think he's kind of an interesting single entry GPP type play. Definitely not a cash game play, but I kind of like Kevin Gausman at 8K. I think he's kind of like an interesting pivot off of some of these chalkier guys. But there's just a lot of different ways you can go about this slate.
Yeah. I'm looking at our consensus myself, Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, Kirkwood, Kirk Dees. We have the same 8 guys. So it's like, I think it's pretty clear who's in the pool and who's not in the pool, right? We have the same 8 people. And I remember filling it out. It wasn't like, man, I hate leaving off this person, that person, and that person. There's not much else. Like I'm not going to stray from probably 8 was maybe too many, to be fair. I think I did leave out Peralta, which I guess you can put him in your pool, but he kind of somewhat is similar to Cease in that he's been scuffling of late. And Arizona's an offense I don't necessarily want to pick on. And Cease we'll talk about too. Likely to be the most popular pitcher on the slate. And Kikuchi well positioned. Same kind of deal as yesterday with Cortez. Like it's a good matchup, but every once in a while he'll give up those homers. And do they go over the fence? Do they die on the warning track? There's a couple guys on the Angels, but collectively not afraid of them. You mentioned the 4K cheapie. Brady, Basso, and look, what do you need to know? He's 4K. He's throwing baseballs against the worst team in baseball. He's professionally trained, my understanding. He's professionally trained to do so. Like, this isn't something they didn't just pick him up. He wasn't like working like Best Buy or hey, we got a spot. Like this is what he's been doing. He's been trying to figure this out for his life. 15th, I think, in the organization, prospect wise, for according to Fangraphs. By the way, I was corrected in chat. Texas does have again, according to Fangraphs, a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs. So I suppose, Jim Carrey will pop on the screen in the second and say, "You're telling me there's a chance? Maybe there's a chance. I suppose there is." But yeah, I mean, you're 4K and you're facing the White Sox, and like that's it. What else do I need to know? Anything else? I'm interested. You had me at 4K and White Sox. Terrible lineup there. Basso looks fine salary-wise. What is the opportunity cost, I suppose, is the question there. And even Dave will be on later. I'm pretty sure Dave's on later as far as the crunch time team. He was not as enthusiastic about Cease, about chalky Cease.
No, I know.
Been in the best form.
I know. Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. That's kind of one of my first conundrums. I don't know if I want chalky Cease, and you're still. It sounds like you're kind of figuring it out also. And I don't know. I'm not sure.
Ian, I didn't even mention Tanner Bybee, who's going to be very, very chalky on both FanDuel and DK. I like the Bybee chalk a lot more than the Cease chalk. I think. I love his price on FanDuel, 8,500 going up against this high K lineup of the Rays. So I think Bybee, in terms of like the chalky guys, is probably chalk I'm going to eat. And he's only 8,300 on DK. So I think he's pretty much too cheap, really like too cheap on both FanDuel and DraftKings.
I'm looking at the plate IQ here as far as the Tampa lineup. I think what's happening here is just one catcher, Driscoll, 10 at bats. He's got a 0% K percent. I think that's what's pushing down this collective number, to pushing it down to 24.2, 24.4. But if you look at everybody else, 26.7, 25.3, 23, 30.9, 24.8. So, like, I think that's what's happening. I feel like that 0% is pushing it down. Siri, 313 at bats, Tim. 313 at bats. I'm not sure if you're looking at it. I'm kind of leading the witness. Do you know what his K percent is versus righties this season? Big sample.
Siri?
Yeah. Are you staring at it? Are you looking at it? I'm leading
not
you
staring
here,
at it. I think it's in like the high 20s, right?
Think Joey Gallo.
Oh, so like 37 or something like that? 40?
39.
Yeah. Okay.
That's astronomical. Well, like, not like, he's got some power, sure. I think he might be a good defender, I think. Don't hold me to that, but
well, he's incredibly fast.
Yes. Yeah. I think he's good at other things. But that's a really, really big number as far as striking out. I like Bybee plenty. And by the way, we're talking about chalk, and the way we have it right now, the way I'm seeing it right now, by the way, Daniel Schneemann is joining the Cleveland lineup in place of Quan. We have it pretty split as far as the 4 top pitchers. I'm just giving it a refresh here. It's the last I saw, unless something's changed in the last few minutes or so. Like 4 of the top guys basically in the 20s. Yeah, we have Cease. This is on DraftKings. Cease at 29%, Bybee at 27%, Brady Basso at 26%, Kikuchi at 25%. And then there's a break. Ober is the only guy in the teens, 16%. Clark Schmidt, 9%. DeGrom, 8%. Again, we talked about the pitch count. We currently have his pitch count at 65 pitches. So, like, what kind of damage can he do in 65 pitches? We saw Rocker strike out 7 last night. I think they let him go 75 pitches. I want to say it was 75 pitches, 4 innings, 75 pitches. And then Gausman, who you mentioned, getting 8%. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be those 4, some combination of those 4 for cash. Cease, Bybee, Basso, Kikuchi. Could you rank those 4? Or are you still kind of like figuring it out? Obviously, Basso is more so the price and what you can do with the savings there. And do you feel like you have to pay up for Chicago today? I should say the Cubs, because there's 2 Chicagos. Coors. Is that still kind of we're trying to figure out as far as our main lineup?
So I think Bybee is my first choice out of those 4. Probably Kikuchi would rank number 2, and then Basso, and then Cease.
Okay.
I think Kikuchi is just kind of like turned a different corner. And I love attacking the Angels. So, I mean, I think in terms of like pure safety at the pitching position, I think the safest combo would be Bybee and Kikuchi. Now, the question is, do you have to pay up for the Cubs? I think in cash games, you have to get like a couple pieces. Sure. I don't think you go like nuts with it. So, I don't think you like necessarily like have to play Basso in cash games. I think Basso is more of a GPP, perhaps a single entry play. I think the cash game combo, in my opinion, would be Bybee and Kikuchi.
I ran some quote unquote optimals, and it is like basically those 4. And I got 55% Bybee, 51% Basso, 36% Cease. I added some, I baked in some variants as well, and 33% Kikuchi. By the way, first lineup, 3 Cubs, Wisdom, Swanson, Happ. We don't have the lineup just yet. We're assuming Wisdom will be in there. Optimizer likes Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker a fair bit as far as, in which I understand. Locked in for 9.
I ran Sims, and I got the top 4 guys that we just discussed, and I got Basso at 54%, Cease at 48%, Kikuchi at 34%, and Bybee at 20%. So a little different. I mean, this is for large field GPP, so a little bit different than cash game single entry like I was talking about. But I mean, that just shows, I think, how badly Sims wants you to get to some bigger bats, because it's really pushing Basso out there quite a bit. So definitely loves Houston, definitely loves Chicago, Chicago, Dodgers, all simming tremendously well on SimLabs.
I'm on Plate IQ, and I'm pulling up the Angels. And what's wild is looking at we don't have the official lineup today right now just yet. Tim, if you look at the projected lineup, And like half these guys haven't played in the majors, in the last month. It looks like, getaway day, the last game of the season, or like spring training or something. LeBlanc has 8 at-bats this year versus lefties. Jordan Adams has 2 at-bats this year versus lefties. Eric Wagaman has 0 at-bats versus lefties. Jack Lopez, 11. Bryce Tedocio has 2. It's like none of these guys have played. It's so strange.
That's why I think Kikuchi's such a safe option.
Yeah. And how do we feel about current form? You kind of referenced that. Last 30 days for Kikuchi. You can find all this stuff in Plate IQ if you're not aware. The ISO last 30 days, 138. The walks, 4%. 4% walks. 0 walks versus lefties. 27 official hitters he's faced. The strikeouts have spiked up to 29%. 31.5% versus righties. So, like, he's in really good form, long story short. And I did want to pull up inversely the one I was kind of surprised, and I understand why you put Cease last. His last 30 days on the season, his strikeouts are 30%, right? 29.8. I rounded up. Close enough. Last 30 days, 19.8% as far as Ks. Walks last 30 days, 12.4%. That's not great. That's not great. He's been pretty good as far as surviving and giving up power, but just the Ks are down and the walks are up. Of course, he's in a good ballpark. He's facing a weak opponent. An opponent that projected lineup to him, striking out 27.4% versus righties this year, which is a monster number. But again, current form it's not great. It's not encouraging. So the push-pull of great opponent, great ballpark versus current form, not great. I don't know where to land on that. It sounds like you are interested, but not on the podium. You had him 4th amongst the top 4 pitchers, which
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't play him. I'm not saying you can't play him. He could have an amazing game. I would definitely get to some in GPPs. I'd definitely play him in 1. If I was making a 3-max team, I'd put him in 1 probably. But I don't think he's going to make my single entry team, and I don't think he's going to make my cash game team either.
Interesting. I thought he would make the cash lineup, but I don't think he has.
I'm going Kikuchi, Bobby.
Yeah. Did I put Kikuchi 2? I think I probably should have. If not, I will have to change that. I had Cease 1, Kikuchi 2, Bobby 3. Probably Bailey Ober. Should he be in this conversation? I think he's kind of on the fringe of this conversation. Where do you have Ober?
Yeah, I mean, he would be like the 5th guy out of this group. No doubt about it. Because after Ober and Gausman, because I mean Gausman to me is definitely in this conversation, even though he's kind of been hit or miss this season. But I mean, he has a very, very long leash. I'm not really too concerned about him getting blown up by the Cardinals. So I think he's a relatively stable option. So like Gausman and Ober, I think are completely fine, but they're far and away, I think, out of the cash game conversation. So those to me are just like, maybe you put 1 in a 3 max, definitely get exposure to them if you're playing a 20 max. Ober I think is close to maybe being, in a 3 max team, just because it's the Reds. They're kind of like a volatile matchup, which we like for tournaments. So I don't mind Bailey Ober, but I really like Bybee and Kikuchi a lot more.
They're asking about umpire stuff. As is always, I'll just give you the standard new series reminder. This stuff can change. It probably won't change, but every once in a while it does. Just be on the lookout for that. 2 extremes, extreme pitchers umpire for Jacob deGrom, extreme pitchers umpire on the other side for Hancock, and an extreme pitchers umpire for Freddie Peralta and Erod. We're just not talking about Freddie Peralta, just not this late. Is that too expensive? And not another guy not in the best form in Arizona, not the greatest ballpark to throw baseballs in, and kind of a tough matchup these days. Tougher with Cattell and Walker back. Peterson feels pretty interesting too. Is that Peralta is like the 9th guy for me in this slate, and I do not see myself pitching him. It seems like that's where you're at as well.
He's way too expensive on both sides. Like, I hate to speak for people who like MMA. I've never done it, but if I did, you get the X button. So I think he's just too expensive. It's in Arizona, tough matchup for strikeouts. I don't see him being necessary to win a GPP this evening.
Several people in chats were asking about the weather, Atlanta specifically. By the way, Roth did update that, and it was orange yellow or yellow orange earlier. Now it's just straight yellow, so looks like a little bit more positive. But that's one of those games where I don't think I'm messing with the pitchers.
I was gonna say we don't want pitchers in that game. If anything, we just want bats.
I like Schwellenbach. I want Schwellenbach like futures. If he was a stock, I'd be interested. I don't know if I like Schwellenbach tonight necessarily. It just doesn't seem. Why? What is he really gonna take everybody? The other guys we mentioned. It's possible he survives. Certainly possible he survives, but just does not seem necessary picking on the Dodgers unless you absolutely have to. And then Knack, no. That's kind of where I'm at on that. Biggest K rate in the slate is Crochet, but they're just not going to let him pitch long enough to matter, and the price is not adjusted enough, I don't think. Is he down to 6.9? I mean, yeah.
Kirky tagged him.
Did he? Okay.
Yep.
We finally got a price drop. He threw 51 pitches last time, 57 before that. He's been in the 50s for the last 5 games. I mean, and he threw 4 pitches. Is that an error here on DraftKings? I'm looking at his game log. What game did he throw 4 pitches in? Oh, you know what game that was? That was a game he started versus Texas.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And Roth knew it was going to rain, and he's like, "Why are they starting this game?" Yeah.
As it starts raining here, by the way, right on cue. I don't know if you can hear it, but that is so strange. The rain just kicked in. It's like the Truman Show. They just turned the rain on as I mentioned it. But by the way, underrated movie, spectacular. Why don't people talk about the Truman Show enough? That's the second Jim Carrey reference. I don't know if you had the over in Jim Carrey references, but cash your tickets if you did. All right. By the way, if producer TJ, if you have any thoughts, by all means, always curious. I don't know if you're playing today or not. You're just concentrating on getting us on the air. But if you have a pitching pool that's any different or any hot takes, feel free to jump in and give your thoughts or not.
I'm potentially putting together one lineup right now just as the show goes on, but to this point, I haven't done a lick of research.
Fair enough. All right. Anybody else we should mention here as far as pitchers? Trying to see if there's anybody that. Oh, DeGrom. We kind of floated his name a couple times, but how many lineups do you have to make? And it's a tough question for you because you don't do this. You don't do this exercise.
I know.
Which you have to make and say, okay, now I'm going to make a DeGrom lineup.
Yeah. He would be. I would have 1 or 2 in a 20 max. I think maybe just one. I don't know. This is such a good matchup for him. If he's close to 100%, he could strike out 6, right? Give up no runs
or 8.
Get you right. I mean, this is a really kind of a weird decision. I'm not going to roster him in single entry, but I mean, this is the best possible matchup really for him to come back to. So if he can get 65 to 70 pitches, he could pay off that price tag of 8,500 pretty easily.
The strange thing is, he's signed. Texas has him signed through 2028, where he'll be 40 years old. What's a club option? 37 million. Spoiler alert, Jacob. The club is not going to exercise that option. Just so you know, they're gonna say no, thank you. We do not want 40-year-old broken down Jacob deGrom for $37 million. But it is peculiar. It's not like he's a free agent. They have him signed for the next 3 years. And just, okay, I guess roll him out there. What can happen? Yeah. I'm rooting for him. He's a fun player to root for. 36, sneaky old. Jacob deGrom. Did you know he's 36? Sneaky old, right?
I would have guessed 34, but yeah, I mean,
I think he broke late. Didn't he become a really good pitcher at 28 or 29? I think he was a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, chat's saying they can't touch deGrom. Basso is $44 on Yahoo. That's pretty funny.
Isn't the min on Yahoo for pitching 25?
Yeah, 44 is really expensive.
That's messed up.
Yahoo, I haven't played there this year, but when I did play there, I liked it. But they had really dynamic pricing, in that they're super reactionary. That's why you would see, if we saw. I bet Aaron Judge is like cheaper than they typically would be. Like when guys are struggling, they really drop prices. When they're excelling, they really raise them. It's very reactionary. Hot streaks. People who love hot streaks probably don't like playing on Yahoo, because all the players they want to play are too expensive, I imagine. But yeah, there you go. Anything else of note we should say as far as the slate? Somebody in chat says, who's this dude doing the show with Dean? It's Tasteful Tides. It's Tim. 3 entry specialist, single entry specialist. Dude's won 6 figures 10 plus times. So much so much money. You may I said 10 plus. That is more. 10 plus means it could have been 15 times, right? I wasn't discounting it. I don't know the official number. I'm not privy to
maybe this person only watches Fridays.
I don't know. That could be it, I suppose. But yeah, Tim's been here. He's not brand new. He's been here, part of the People Show. And, Tim, people should know who Tim is. Put some respect on that name. But I mean, you're not gonna. You might have a golf course in your backyard. That's how much money it's possible.
It's possible. Very possible.
Your own private golf course, and you wouldn't allow me to step on that in any possible scenario. But anything else here? I didn't mention Logan Webb. Should we have mentioned he's pitching baseballs tonight? He's fine, I guess.
I think he's a great. I think he's a great real life pitcher, but in this matchup against the Padres, I don't think he has much any K upside. He's already a low K guy anyway. He can eat up tons of innings, but I'm really not interested. I don't think he really has tournament winning upside.
Yeah, I think he's fine, and I'm probably not picking on him, but I don't think I'm the chances he's the top pitcher on the slate, pretty unlikely. We did get the Angels lineup: Ward, Neto, Chanel, LeBlanc, Thaiss, Wagaman, Moniak, Adams, and Stefanik. So no Ohapi. So that makes things even easier for Kikuchi. That's one of the best hitters for the Angels.
That's really nice.
Ward's still there and Neto's still there, but beyond that, it gets rough. It falls off a cliff really, really fast. So and I thought Ohapi was actually a really interesting contrarian play, because that's the kind of guy that would get Kikuchi. And the Angels, they have no interest in playing, whatever. They just want to hit that send button and move on. Of course, Eric in chat is asking us about Assad. Thoughts on Assad versus the Rockies?
He wants to know Assad, and imagine fading Erod today. So
I didn't see that part.
Yeah.
I don't have to imagine it. I'm going to do it. I'm definitely fading Erod. I'm not saying he's going to get his face punched in, but it just doesn't seem very necessary. But do I have to ask you your thoughts on Javier Assad?
I'm not rostering him, and I don't think anybody should.
That is where I am at as well. Do you want to give the summary? I see some people kind of sprinkled on through. By the way, hit that like button as Tim gives you the summary. Give me the summary as far as pitchers. We'll talk the stack board in a second. Producer TJ, you don't even know this, Tim, I don't think. Producer TJ, guest ranker. He's multitasking, spinning all the plates today. He did our stack board, which we'll discuss soon enough. But otherwise, for those that have not showed up, or those that were not listening closely enough, Tim, can you give the people a summary as far as your approach when it comes to pitchers tonight?
So I'm going Bobby in all formats on both sites, cash games and single entry. 8,300, I think it's too cheap. Matchup is really good. And then for cash games on DK, my SP2 is going to be Kikuchi at 9,200. I don't think it's absolutely necessary to get a full stack of Cubs, so you can double pay up really for Kikuchi and Bobby. If you want to go low, then it's definitely going to be Brady Basso. I might go Bobby, Basso, and single entry. So he's definitely in play. And then, what to do about Dylan Cease? He's been really, really bad. He's going to miss the cut for me in single entry. I might have one of him in 3 max, but I'm not quite sure yet. And then I think the next three guys to consider are Gaussman, DeGrom, and Ober. I think ranking those three for me, I think I'd go Ober, Gaussman, and DeGrom. But I think DeGrom, even at 65 pitches, can be in your player pool this evening.
All right, TJ, I think you muted my mic because I guess the rain is getting too excessive. My apologies. Hopefully it's not too annoying. I will do my best to mute and unmute myself as when I'm not talking. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and open the board and bring in TJ in just a second. Going to talk about his rankings. But I did want to mention, never a better time to get yourself some RG Premium. NFL Premium on sale. Get your first month of NFL Premium, $15 off. You can also get yourself a 6-month combo deal. 6-month combo deal of exclusive price, $469 and change. That's $250 off the top if you're willing to commit to 6 months. If you want to commit to just 1 month, you get it for $120, which is $40 off the top. And you just want 3 days, that's $19 and change. You mentioned SimLabs earlier in the show. We don't talk enough about SimLabs. That's probably on me. Should talk about it more. But SimLabs is now available for mobile, if you're not aware. The expert DFS lineup generation tool from RG Fantasy Labs as well, known as SimLabs. It just got even better. In addition to the desktop tool on the web, that's me. I'm old school with the desktop, or I guess the laptop. You can download the SimLabs mobile app from your app store and use the power of DFS simulation in the palm of your hand. Available for combo and single sport subs, or you can just buy it a la carte in the Apple Store. Do feel free to check that out. And while we're here, do you want to mention every once in a while, if you guys are playing in the DK Pick 6, if you're in the DK Pick 6 streaks, make sure if you're a premium member to download the Firefox extension to make your life a lot easier to find, to isolate the best choices for Pick 6 on a given day. Okay, let's go ahead. We've teased it enough. There are 22 teams, so we have a lot of teams to rank. A lot of it's not great. But to set the board today, we have guest ranker, TJ. You guys know. Somebody didn't know who Tim was? TJ's words. You want to get all technical? One of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. What's up, TJ? Excited to reveal the board to the people? Well, you got to tell them the category as well.
I did. So I did sitcoms for my favorite sitcoms for this. So I didn't rank like the objective best sitcoms of all time, anything like that. I just put my top sitcoms. So 1, 2, and 3 are probably my 1, 2, and 3 favorite sitcoms that there are. 3, I think, would arguably be 1 if it had a larger sample size. 4 is
it's getting a larger sample size.
Yeah, I know. 4 is something that was universally beloved, but is kind of aged poorly, and also was a kind of a knockoff copy of another already existing sitcom. And then 5 is something that I can't stand. And so ranked those today for the tiers. And let's pull it up right now.
Can I get hold on before you pull it up? I wanted Tim to guess. Well, I wanted Tim. Well, Tim's not reading the board. Like, how well does Tim know TJ? What would you guess TJ's favorite sitcoms are? And what are your favorite sitcoms? Do you have any in your back pocket?
I don't. I'm not a big sitcom person.
Well, it's too fun for you. Is that the problem?
I
don't
just
want to laugh ever.
The new stuff I just don't like that much. I really don't. I bet TJ likes Ted Lasso. Right?
Well, have you not seen the board?
I haven't.
Okay. Well, wouldn't you know it?
Yeah, number 3, not bad. I figured he would have been higher on Friends. Parks and Rec makes sense. I'm surprised at New Girl. I hate that show. Actually, you and I are like polar opposites, so it does make sense.
New Girl is the very best like banter I've ever heard in a comedy show. These actors came onto a show, as actors, and then they're still to this day best friends because they just had such good chemistry together. So that's number 1 for me.
I
have not seen it. I've heard good things.
I do not like Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory is the worst.
Yeah, we agree across the board in that.
Yeah,
but Young Sheldon, spectacular.
No, I haven't actually watched that.
I've never seen that.
I've only seen it like in 10-second clips when I'm watching football, and they're like, "Young Sheldon, this Sunday." That's
Yeah.
And there's like one hilarious line that makes me want to. And no, I've never seen it. Young Sheldon, it just ended. He was 47 years old. That's how long it was on air. Young Sheldon, when the show was over, it had a long run. Do we like the fact that Ted Lasso is coming back? I thought it ended so perfectly, and I thought it was over, and like we were kind of prepared for it to be over. Now it's back, and it's like I'm gonna watch it, of course, but it feels like it had a great ending. TJ, I'm a little conflicted about it.
I think it ended very, very well, but at the same time, it also left multiple doors open for potential storytelling avenues to come back to. And so it's one of those things that it's like, to me, getting more of something doesn't ruin the season 3 ending. I think the season 3 ending will always be great. I'm just happy to get more of something I like. I don't necessarily know it's always going to be tough to bring something back when they had this 3-season story to be told. And you're now going to come back to it. Like, if you have a good story, I'm sure it's going to be great. If you don't, then you're just going to be relying on the funny characters, and that's when you get a little worrisome. But I trust the writers; they've done a great job so far. And
yeah,
I
thought they were setting up a very clear spin-off. It's like, well, okay, they're going to do this now. This makes sense.
But I think from an IP standpoint, why do a spin-off when you can just use the name of one of the most popular television shows?
Sure. Yeah. What was the show that Friends copied? Like, what show are you accusing them?
Living Single.
What show?
Living Single. Same show.
Really?
Yeah. We can get into the lore of that one a little more off air.
Okay. I don't know. I wasn't a big Friends guy either. It's fine, but like, yeah, I can't tell you. I never really watched it. Like, I know the characters, of course. You just can't help but be aware of it. But okay, I did not know that was a thing. Anyway, that's
top 3. New Girl and Parks and Rec are like 1A, 1B for my favorite sitcoms. Ted Lasso, I think, has some of the very best moments, just hasn't been around as long, only 3 seasons compared to 6+ great seasons. So that's why it's 3rd. And then Friends, meh. Big Bang Theory, terrible.
The chats, let's see, did the Spotty Bombs hit yesterday? Seinfeld is cheeks. Several people saying you're probably too young for Seinfeld. Several people standing for Workaholics, which was a show on Comedy Central.
I really like that show.
All these people.
There's a show.
These people, Workaholics is very funny. All these people foolish, don't know what they're talking about. Seinfeld, yes, actually, all things considering, has aged pretty well in comparison to a lot of other shows from the time. But objectively, I think that's number 1 of all time. I've seen every episode. No, it is not too old for me. And I've also interviewed the writers. So take that, chat.
We'll have to do I don't know if it's too specific, too niche, but like Seinfeld episodes, power ranking the 5 best Seinfeld episodes. That feels like it could be an interesting, but it's very, very specific. So I don't know if anybody would care. But all right, we can move on. We can talk about our favorite teams to rank tonight. We still have plenty of time, obviously. 40 minutes, give or take, until we bring in how old is Eric for Brady Bunch greater than the Happy Days? Nobody's bringing up Brady Bunch and Happy Days. Okay. No, I'm not.
Somebody came in there with like Workaholics, and it's like, yes, great call. And then their next one was King of Queens, and it's like, oh, all right, that's never mind.
It's fine. Look, whatever makes you happy. If you enjoy it, then great. Good for you. I'm glad you like it. It makes you happy for 30 minutes, give or take. Okay. Let's go ahead and start power ranking. Throw some teams in some tiers. Very first game on the slate. By the way, I want to see if we're getting any lineups coming through. We have not seen a Cubs lineup just yet, right? Yeah, last one we got was the Angels. Still waiting for the Cubbies. First game we're going to talk about is Boston and the New York Yankees, the storied rivalry. Tanner Houck taking on Clark Schmidt. 8.5 is a total. Yankees have one of the bigger totals on the board at 4.7. I think the lineup is pretty standard. I don't think there's anything goofy there for either side. Looks like the regulars are on in the rosters for both teams. Where do we have Boston and the Yankees?
Yeah, Houck gives up over 50% hard hits to both sides of the plate. So, and this Yankees lineup is pretty dangerous. I think, I really like guys like Soto and Judge, obviously, Jazz quite a bit, Rizzo. So there's a lot of this Yankees lineup that I do like. So I'm going to put the Yankees in Parks and Rec. And then Boston. I mean, I'm not really in love with the stack. There are certainly some one-offs that you can get to, but I don't think I'll even play like a 3-man of them. So they're going to go in Ted Lasso for me.
By the way, side note, you didn't have a comment about Parks and Rec. You feel like a big Ron Swanson guy. Is he not somebody that speaks to your heart?
He's one of my favorite TV characters of all time. He would make my top 5 list of TV characters easily.
I'm the Leslie Knope to Tim's Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
We have very different interests.
Yeah.
Maybe not. We don't align on a lot of things, but you put us in a room together when you need something done, and you best believe it's gonna be a really good job.
Well, if you ever need help,
Ludgate.
If you ever need help, TJ, don't call me. How about that?
You're our Andy Dwyer, Dean.
Yeah.
All right. It was a good read. I had a feeling that, Tim, it feels like Ron Swanson does speak to you. So you have New York and Parks and Rec, and you have Boston and Ted Lasso. Is that what you said? No, that's where they're at right now. I thought it was Friends. Maybe I misheard you. Ted Lasso.
No,
okay.
Lasso.
That's on me. That's my bad. And I am not going to argue with you. Yeah, we like lefty power at Yankee Stadium, so for sure, Devers and Duran, I think are pretty interesting. I don't know if I'm going to get to a full stack, but I do like a mini there for Boston, like you're talking about. Let's move on and talk about St. Louis at Toronto. Toronto starting at 7:07 East Coast time. Got to get that Canadian national anthem in there. Eric Fetty taking on Kevin Gausman. You mentioned liking Gausman a little bit tonight. Where do we have the Cardinals and the Blue Jays?
So I actually really like Gausman for tournaments. I don't have a lot of faith in this St. Louis lineup. So I'm going to go Cardinals in Friends. And then, Fetty's had a pretty decent year this year, but I still think that this Blue Jays lineup is strong enough and they're going to be low owned enough. So I think Lasso is fine for the Blue Jays.
All right, Blue Jays and Lasso, Cardinals and Friends. It's basically you're basically making the board unless I chime in and I have a big discrepancy. I have no discrepancies with that. That's perfectly fine. We mentioned Cleveland at home versus Tampa. We lost Quan. Schneemann is leading off, so you got a cheapie leading off there. Bybee taking on Zach Littell. Tampa barely with a 3 total there in Cleveland. Cleveland big favorite here, minus 185. Littell's certainly vulnerable. J-Ram, Naylor both look pretty good to me. Don't mind Big Christmas. He is vulnerable to the pinch hit, but they are starting him versus the righty, which is encouraging. Where do we have the Rays and the Guardians?
Rays are Big Bang Theory for me. Bybee is my favorite pitcher on the entire slate. So I'm going to definitely put the Rays in Big Bang Theory. The Guardians, it just seems weird. Without Quan at the top of that lineup, but not that I want to roster him, but he's a very good table setter, as they say. So
sure.
Schneemann for value at 13% owned. I mean, I guess it's okay. I do like this Guardians lineup quite a bit. I guess Lasso. I was thinking about putting them in Parks and Rec, but I think Lasso is better.
That's probably where I would put him as well. Like Schneemann doesn't make me terribly excited. He's not very good. He strikes out a lot. He's got a little bit of power, but he's cheaper. I guess he makes the stack easier if you want him. But really, it's J-Ram and Naylor are the 2 most appealing pieces, but they're going to cost you as well. Don't hate Bo of the brothers Naylor as a cheapie if you're stacking Cleveland as well. But let's move on. More games to rank. LA is in Atlanta. 8.5 is the total. Landon Knack taking on Spencer Schwellenbach. Pretty standard lineups on both sides, unless I missed something, given the old 1-over. Bad news for Albies, by the way. Not a great report. They're talking about kind of still up in the air if and when he can come back at some point this season. But that's, not relevant to tonight. But just, Atlanta get a little bit healthier would be nice. Where do we have the Dodgers and the Braves?
Yeah, so Schwellenbach's been really good this season. He does give up a 202 ISO to left-handed batters. So I do love, obviously Ohtani, Freeman, Muncy, Edman is fine. I think I'm going to go Parks and Rec with the Dodgers. Let me just check their ownership real quick.
They're not going to get played. I don't think.
Yeah. So given their low ownership and their massive ceiling, I think they get a boost to Parks and Rec. And then Atlanta, they're okay. They're going to be really, really low owned. They have a 4.25 total, which on this slate is not like atrocious. They're all going to be like under 5% owned. So I think I'm going to go Atlanta in the Ted Lasso category.
Yeah, that works for me. I have no gripes. Let's move on and talk about the Athletics taking on the White Sox, two of the worst teams. Well, I guess Oakland's not nearly as bad as Chicago. Chicago's in their own tier. 7.5 is a total. Brady, Basso, the 4K de jour pitcher taking on Chicago. Crochet on the other side. Crochet, good at pitching, but does not last very long, or they won't let him last. They won't stick him out there very long. 7.5, paltry total there. Oakland is the slight favorite, minus 130. Where do we have the Athletics? Good to see they have Butler starting left on left. Probably only 2 at-bats there versus Crochet, and then he gets to that bullpen, which is not very good. Oakland and Chicago, where we throwing them on the board.
Yeah, so if they can get to Crochet at all, they should be able to destroy this bullpen. The problem is they might not get to Crochet at all and then only get like, I don't know, 4 innings against this bullpen. So I think I'm going to go Oakland in Friends. And then I'm going to go, I think I'm also going to put the White Sox in Friends also, only because Basso is going to be so high owned at 4K, and he could be absolutely atrocious. So you have to give the White Sox some credit. So I'm going to go put both of these teams in the Friends category.
If we're going to pick a White Sox, I thought Andrew Vaughn is probably the best option. I'm looking at this roster. Also, they don't have are they missing somebody, or it's just always bad? Maybe it's just always bad.
This lineup is pretty bad. Where's okay? No, I don't know who they're.
I think it's pretty standard. Yeah, I'm staring at it. Ramos doesn't play a ton, but I'm trying to think who he's playing for. Benintendi is one of the better hitters.
Oh, it's Gavin Sheets.
The freak in the Sheets. Yeah, left on left, not out there. Man, Luis Robert this year against lefties, 80 plate appearances. 69 ISO, which is not good. That's not good. 69 ISO, that's pretty bad. 35% Ks as well. Remember, he was supposed to be like the next great hitter, next great baseball player. He's I don't know if it's the stink of Chicago or maybe he's just kind of falling off. Nicky Lopez, that's the guy. Thank you. Somebody in chat.
Oh, Lopez.
Yeah. Not that I want to play. I knew something looked different. I'm like, who is the guy?
No Sheets, no Lopez changes everything.
It's gone from bad to possibly worse. I don't know. It's not good. Andrew Vaughn is my one-off potential play, but none of it is good. Corey Lee, no. Vargas has been a massive disappointment. I was a Vargas guy, and he still can turn it around. He finally got unleashed and got some playing time here, getting out of LA, but has been a bit of a disaster here in Cleveland, Chicago so far. Let's move on. Spend too much time on Chicago and Oakland, but we have plenty of time until crunch time does come in. No jokes as well. Oh, that bench is loaded for Chicago today. Loaded up bench.
Wow.
Julian Aguilar taking on Bailey over the Twins at home versus the Reds. Twins, massive favorite, minus 225. 8.5 total here. They have a 5 total, above a 5 total. One of the few teams that do so. Julian versus Aguilar. Wallner, Royce Lewis, Larnick. There is, again, always the pinch hit stuff of Minnesota. Buxton is back in our lives. Byron Buxton is hitting in the 6 hole. This lineup looks pretty filled out for Minnesota, right? It looks pretty good. You can play it 1 through 9, which is even they got Jeffers in there versus the lefty. I like this Minnesota lineup here, but you got to worry a little bit about the pinch hit stuff. Yeah, a little bit.
You're my official bullpen guy. What do the Reds have in their bullpen?
Give me a second.
You're my guy.
Tell me how you feel about the Reds, and I'll let you know about the Reds bullpen in a second.
Yeah, I like Ober quite a bit for tournaments, but I do like this Reds lineup because they have a mix of power and speed. So I'm going to put the Reds in the friends category. And then this Twins lineup, depending on what Dean says, is either going to be in Parks and Rec or New Girl, because they are really one of the best stacks in the entire night. The only thing you have to worry about is pinch hitting. So I do love this Twins lineup quite a bit.
So what's interesting is they have two lefties, right? Two lefties in the pen. Both of them worked on Tuesday. Both of them worked on Wednesday.
Wow.
Both were off yesterday. Neither pitched yesterday, so they could go 3 and 4. But they worked hard, with the exception of yesterday. So I assume they're available. Justin Wilson, who appears to be a 1-inning guy, 4 pitches on Wednesday, 23 Tuesday, 10 on Sunday, and then Brent Suter. He threw 7 pitches on Tuesday, 6 on Wednesday. So again, I assume he's available for like a loogie spot, if nothing else. Not that those really exist, but lefty, one guy only, that kind of thing. But they're there. There's 2 though. 2's not a ton. It's a mostly right-handed bullpen, but like Julian, absolutely, there's a possibility if Aguilar is relieved with Wilson. Aguilar probably not going very deep either. So we've seen it before when Minnesota that they're more than happy to give a player the hook if the situation calls for it, like maybe just 2 at-bats, but we'll see. And I guess with Buxton being back, this Minnesota bench is probably bolstered too, right? We've seen Castro come back. They probably have some pretty good pieces. I'm trying to think. Farmer, I'm trying to think out loud like who their righties are on the bench. I guess I can pull it up too. We have time, right? Who would be the guys that would be coming in that are the most likely candidates? Farmer. Oh, Miranda. Miranda's another one.
And
I guess Margot is still looking at.
Yeah,
Margot.
and Margot.
Those guys are lurking. But like Larnack, possibly, Julien, possibly. We could just pull up the bat and see what the bat has to say about it. I suppose we can do that too. I'm spending a lot of time on this because I think Minnesota is an important team. And you would agree? They're an important team on this slate?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what the bat has. My guess is Julien's.
Wisdom is not in the Cubs lineup. That's too bad.
That's a bummer. I was not going to play him. He was going to get pinch hit for very quickly. That was going to be one of my fades tonight. A way to be different with Chicago. I thought the smart move would be to lead him off so they can get 3 at-bats out of him, but they're just not going to play him at all. Minnesota pinch hit stuff, according to Derek Hardy's The Bats. I'm saying words to buy time so I can get there. It's taking me a second to get there. All right. Do you happen to have this pulled up? Okay, I got it. Pinch hit stuff. We have Larnack 41%, Julian 34%, Wallner 25%, according to the bat. So the 3 guys we were talking about, basically. Doesn't mean you can't play them, but just understand the situation. And did you officially put Minnesota in with the information?
I would go Minnesota at the top at New Girl.
Yeah. By the way, in chat they're telling us the numbers guy. Yeah, it's not a big sample size. I didn't really want to focus on it too much, but Julian Aguilar, what we've seen so far in 21 innings, a K rate of 11.6%. Swinging strikes 8.9%, so suggests more are coming, but also a lot of fly balls too. He's allowed a ton of fly balls and not striking people out, and that is a bad recipe for facing Minnesota. So do like the Twins a lot, and I agree. They should be up there with Zoe Deschanel. That's the correct Deschanel, right? It's one of the Deschanels. I think it's Zoe. Alyssa? What's the other Deschanel? One of them.
Are there multiple Deschanels?
Yeah, she's got a sister. Yeah. Oh wait, maybe I'm thinking of. Am I thinking? I think there is. I think there's another Deschanel.
I've only heard of Zoe.
Well, you have a site dedicated to such things, so I could definitely be wrong. Oh, according to Derek, the other one is on Bones, which Bones had like 17 seasons, and I don't know one person that's ever watched one episode of Bones. I don't know how that happened, but they had a hell of a run. Yeah, her sister was on Bones. TJ, you're fired from your TV job. You should know this.
Emily Deschanel. I had no idea they were sisters. I recognized that person. I had no idea they were sisters.
Yeah, well, there you go. Well, Deschanel is such a popular last name, It's right up there with Johnson, Smith, Deschanel. All right, let's move on. Next game, Minnesota is done. Getting to my page. Okay, right on time. They got that Chicago lineup. The Cubs, like you said, just came out. Gomber taking out Javier Assad. 10.5 total. Chicago with close to a 16 total. Chalk Wisdom is not going to happen. Let's go ahead and read that lineup. Hap, Swanson, Suzuki, Bellinger, Paredes, Bush, Horner, PCA, Crow Armstrong, and Amaya. Where do we have the Cubs? We kind of, well, you tell me. TJ's just already putting them in New Girl. I'm guessing that's what we're doing.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like Parks and Rec because I do like Minnesota better. I just can't see myself like paying $5,700 for a chalk Suzuki or $5,300 for a chalk hat. So I don't know. I feel like this Cubs team is like a better 3-man stack than a full 5-man. I don't know, but I mean that total is obviously amazing. But they're also going to be super high owned on a really big slate. So I think that knocks them down just a hair. So I think I'm going to leave them in Parks and Rec.
What about playing Bellinger and PCA? Are people going to avoid the lefties to some degree? Bellinger not always good against lefties. Probably might get 3 at-bats against Gomber. Gomber against lefties this year has actually got a higher ISO than against righties. 216 ISO versus lefties, 202 against righties. His K rate is essentially the same as walk rate, in check on both sides, but not a huge split basically is the point. And if you go to last year, do you want to stretch it to last year? We can talk about last year. Gomber, the lefty against lefties, 283 ISO, 448 WOBA, and 127 plate appearances. So I think that Bellinger and PCA, not that he's been good against lefties this year either, small sample, but I do like Bellinger as the sneaky guy. Sneaky, maybe not the right word, but like you said, you're first going to be paying up for either Suzuki or Hap. Paredes seems a little bit overpriced, but sure. But I like Bellinger as like maybe starting with him, I suppose. Do you have a thought on that?
I mean, I don't mind getting to a little bit of Bellinger or Bush, PCA as like a contrarian, 3-man of this Cubs lineup. I would say that if you do play this Cubs lineup and you play Basso, you got to be really careful of the rest of your lineup because you're just going to be doing what everyone else is doing. So just be careful with the rest of your team because you're going to be eating a lot of ownership on a really, really big slate. So just be careful of that.
Yeah, 11 gamer to have like a lot of overlap, probably not ideal. And me and you, we venture in the single entry stuff, like the 121 or like the 250. We know how the good stuff, the quote unquote good stuff, is going to be elevated. The ownership's going to be elevated when people only have one lineup. And for baseball, when hitters are 30% or 35% on an 11 game slate, just not knowing anything else, you probably want to get away with that. Just get away from that. As a general rule, I understand there are reasons why you lean in. Arms for me, I'm if I like the arm, that's that. I don't really care. I'll take that ownership because they're more predictable, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes, and they have a bigger opportunity to collect points. Bats, you have 4 or 5 chances, and that's it. It's very, very easy for really, really well positioned players to do nothing in baseball. It happens all the time. Okay. And you have Colorado and Ted Lasso, is that correct?
I'm fine with that. That's where I was going to put them.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was TJ throwing them
TJ
there,
did that, but I agree. So that's fine.
Me too.
I'm just guessing. Like I said, I haven't put very much time into the slate. So you guys fully choose. I'm just guessing where I think they're going to go.
We didn't just get you off the street, TJ. Like, you're aware of the Colorado Rockies. You've heard of, Ezekiel Tovar.
What's Coors Field? Why do we like that?
Well, you see, elevation is a thing. Kevin Roth's coming on soon enough. Maybe he can explain that to you. Chief meteorologist. He'll be on for crunch time in about 15, 20 minutes or so. Kikuchi for Houston, monster favorite. Houston also a 5-team total, locked in for 9 against the Angels. No Houston lineup just yet against Sam Aldegheri. No Logan O'Hoppe also for the Angels. I know you talked about liking Kikuchi a good bit earlier. I can guess. I'm not trying to steer you, but I can guess where the Angels are going to end up here. Where do we have the Astros and the Angels on the board?
Yeah, Angels are definitely in the Big Bang Theory category. And then Houston, I like quite a bit. The question is, do I like them more than the Cubs? And I think that they're going to come in. Let me just check ownership.
Jordan's going to be like
I
one of
guess
the
they're
first
gonna-
big spends in the slate.
Yeah, I guess they're going to be like the same, if not more. So I guess I have to leave them in Parks and Rec. I was hoping to put them in New Girl, but I think Parks and Rec is a better tier for them. I really like them tonight. For the record, I like Houston. I'm probably going to be playing Houston over Chicago.
Do we like the nonsense pieces if they hit the lineup? I mean, obviously, you want, ideally, you want Jordan, you want Tucker. We're not expecting Altuve to play. Altuve, we think, is day to day. We currently have a Bregman projected to lead off, but I'm talking about like Shea Whitcomb, Dubon. These guys that we're going to be using, I guess, in a pinch. You're willing to play them?
I don't mind Dubon just because he has MPE and he's 2,300. So I don't hate that.
Third in outfield.
Yeah. So I don't know if you necessarily have to like go full, 8-9, with Shea Whitcomb at 2,400. But I really like Kyle Tucker. I really love Jordan. I like Yanier Diaz also at 4,700. So I don't know. I just like the top half of this Astros lineup over the top half of the Cubs lineup.
We haven't seen it yet this year in the majors with Shea, cup of coffee, but AAA this season, 25 homers, 26 stolen bases. So like he's shown power and he's shown speed in AAA. I think he's 25. Yeah, I don't think he's like this big time prospect. I feel like he's somewhat of a prospect, or maybe not. He's almost 26, so maybe he's beyond his prospect status. Also feels like a pinch hit risk, potentially, if the situation calls for it, but he's also super, super cheap. Okay, let's move on. Again, no Houston lineup just yet. We have 3 more lineups to go. Do we have some taters in the works, Tim? I know you're always brewing up with some taters, and you like to act. You put some what is it they say when you say I can't think of the official term. When you actually you got skin in the game. When you give out taters,
I got skin in the game. I do. Yeah.
You will bet the players, and you like to give taters that like have good lines that are lurking out there. So we do have to get the likes up. Hit that like button if you want some of Tim Tater. And the taters are on fire. I don't know if you've been keeping if they were on Yahoo, your taters would be like $40. They would be way too expensive because they've been on fire. Probably like 3 of the last 5, give or take, a small sample, but the taters have been locked in. Do you have any on layaway for the people when we call upon them? Soon enough?
I've got one that I really like.
And Spidey bombs, I saw they're requested. And TJ said like kind of give like a maybe, but TJ's never heard of some of these. He doesn't even know that elevation exists in Colorado. So I'm not sure if you want, but Spidey gives those picks. Thankfully, Spidey is locked in.
Yeah, all I have to do is relay the information. He's out saving people's lives right now, fighting crime. So I'm doing my best to get the line in and seeing what he says.
You are merely a vessel, despite the fact you're lying to the chat about how old you are currently. I do not believe you were born in 1980, but it's a good. I don't know what sort of bit you're doing in chat.
There's no chance he's older than I am. It's not.
No. Well, he's given it his official age several times, and I believe he did correct it in chat. TJ's not too old, bro, where I'm willing to play him. He hasn't aged out just yet. I am a bit of an ageist when it comes to my DFS players. Let's move on. Milwaukee, Arizona, Erod taking on Peralta, 8.5 total. No Milwaukee lineup just yet. We just saw Jackson Churio drop a 2020 season, which I think it was him and Mike Trout and like one other dude. Can't remember who the other guy was. Somebody in the 60s maybe at their age, 20 or 21, to have a 2020 season. So shout out to Jackson Churio. I assume he'll be in that lineup. As well as the other power options, Contreras and Sanchez and Adames. We shall see. Where do you have as far as the Angels and the Brewers? Where are they throwing them? Where are we throwing them on the board?
I think I'm going to go Brewers in New Girl, just because they give you really nice salary relief. Erod's been terrible. I love Willie Adames, William Contreras, Blake Perkins, Jackson Trio, like that entire top half, and they're reasonably affordable. Gary Sanchez at 3.8. I mean, Hoskins at 3.8. Like, I really like all those guys. So It's definitely, ownership and price considered, but I do like them as a top stack this evening.
If you're doing like a 5-3, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
If you're doing like a 5-3 in single entry, are they Milwaukee potentially your 3? Are they potentially your 5?
See, that's why I think they're a top stat, because they could really be both. So they're so easy to play, and they're in a really good spot. So I do like Milwaukee quite a bit. Arizona, they have a 4.4 total against Peralta. Peralta's not been great, but still, I think I'm going to put Arizona in Ted Lasso.
That is where I would put them as well. Carroll, Marte, Peterson, Walker, Pavin Smith, McCarthy, Suarez, Perdomo. They have the weaker catcher tonight, Jose Herrera, doing the catching for Arizona. 2 more games to go. Texas, Seattle, just a 7 total. It is paltry. Jacob deGrom, first game back this season. Good to see him. His issue, of course, is pitch count, 65, 70 pitches, give or take. Texas is the favorite, minus 130. Where do we have the Rangers and Mariners? Not a great ballpark for hitting baseballs either.
Yeah, Mariners are definitely in Big Bang Theory for me. I think deGrom should do quite well in this matchup. And then the Rangers, with no Corey Seager, this lineup just doesn't have it this year. So I don't have a lot of faith in Hancock, though. So I guess I have to put the Rangers in the Friends category.
Yeah, I'm pulling up, looking at the plate IQ right now as far as Texas. And Seager, I'm not sure if you said it, but I think they shut him down for the season. I'm pretty sure he's done so. Yeah, which makes sense because, they're not going anywhere. Despite their 0.2% chance of making the playoffs, it's not going to happen. Only 2 guys in the green against righties this year as far as power. It's Adalis, Garcia, and Young. Disappointing year for Semien. I know he's super, super young and he's probably got a bright future, but Wyatt Langford, cool. You hit a grand slam against the Yankees, a walk-off granny, and that'll be how you remember the season possibly. But overall, not spectacular. Again, he's still 20. He should be good. But I'm with you. I don't really like Texas or Seattle, and probably a game I get nothing of because deGrom has pitch count being suppressed. Okay, San Diego and the Giants, no lineups just yet. We've talked about Cease several times in this show about, in theory, he should be one of the best pitchers. I'm curious if ownership has changed. Last we saw, he was projected to be the most popular pitcher on the slate, 29-30%, give or take.
I think it's gone higher, hasn't it?
30.46. It's got a slight bump up. Yeah, 30%. Bybee at 28 and change. Kikuchi at 26. And Basso 26. So it's all 4 of those are kind of in the same tier, but Cease ahead of everybody else. And then Bybee, Kikuchi, Basso, depending on how much salary you need. Good ballpark to pitch in. Giants are a welcome opponent. Logan Webb, good at pitching, also just not a K savant. And San Diego, not the most strikeout happy offense either. So probably pretty good, but probably not good enough, I guess is the way to describe Webb tonight. Where do we have the Padres and the Giants on the board?
Yeah, just because I don't want to pitch Webb in DFS doesn't mean he's not a great pitcher. So I'm going to put the Padres in the Friends category. And then Cease, it's a tough one for me, but I don't know if he's a great play for DFS, but he's still a decent pitcher. This Giants lineup does not have a lot of pop to it, so I'm going to put them in the Friends category also.
Giants in Friends, and I'm sorry, the last one was Padres. Where now? I don't see the Padres.
Both in Friends.
Okay, yeah. All right. Think of that, the tater for the people. Fire off some questions in chat as well. We have 5 minutes or so, give or take, until crunch time comes knocking on the door. I will give the summary as far as the board. In New Girl, we have 2 teams. I'm a little bit surprised Milwaukee made it to the top. Not saying you're wrong. I like the stand. Minnesota, Milwaukee. In Parks and Rec, we have the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubbies and Coors, Houston, Arizona. Ted Lasso has Boston, Toronto, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Colorado right in the middle. Friends hanging out with Joey is, St. Louis, Oakland, the White Sox, Cincinnati, Texas, Giants, San Diego. All the way at the bottom, hanging out with Mayim Bialik. I don't know the characters' names.
And oh, sorry.
What do you got?
Oh, Tanner Houck has been scratched.
Oh, okay. Bullpen game, or what do we got? Do we know?
Richard Fitz will start, if that's a real
That's
person.
not a person.
That's,
Hold on.
That's Richard Fitz will be starting.
Hold on. Richard Fitz might be on my season-long team.
Get out of here.
Because I think this is the guy I picked up, and I just never dropped him. We're in the playoffs right now. It's a bit of a battle. I don't think I'm going to start him, though, against the Yankees. If that's the guy, it might be a different person. This is important, though, to figure out. You don't believe me, do you, that Richard Fitz is on my team?
Well, what's his deal? Why'd you sign him?
You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't know who I had. It's not him, though. I think that's a creative player. Is Fitz somebody who's pitched out of the bullpen? What is his story? Let's see if we can get. I think he's a reliever. Okay, yeah, he pitched 5 innings and change on the 8th.
He did.
I picked him up because he was facing the White Sox. That's why I picked him up.
Well,
the White Sox, I'm pretty sure.
He's 7,100 tonight.
Not as good. They're not as good. The White Sox not as good as the Yankees. But I don't think this is a bullpen game. Yeah, he threw 5 innings and change. So ideally, they're going to want him to. Okay, I wanted to see if there's anything else we should know about.
Maybe that's going to be a small boost to the Yankees overall, I would think.
I would imagine so. I know Stevie's been talking about Tanner Houck having like a dead arm, and maybe it is dead. I don't know what the story is, and maybe there's some issue there, and I don't know if he's getting pushed back a day. But yeah, Fitz. I was thinking Fitz, which is throwing me off, but it's not spelled that way. I believe it was Fitts. If you're looking for him in the player pool, which I don't know why he would be, but there you go. And he's not 4K, like you said. He's 7-1. All right. J3 wants to know whatever happened to Dean's Mr. Predicto robot. You know what? It's right here. If you have a question for it, if you have a yes or no question for Mr. Predicto, I will ask that question. Offer me a yes or no question. Make sure you specify this is for Mr. Predicto. How do you feel? Oh, JT wants to know how TJ feels about a full Yankee stack and fading 4s. TJ, you feel free to give your answer in chat or feel free to jump on. Also, bear in mind, TJ's just learning all these names today. It's his first time looking at baseball.
I have no idea. I didn't do any research on the slate. Don't ask me. Ask one of the other people here. I'm not on. I'm just behind the scenes.
You know what's going on. You have your own Mr. Predicto. So we just talked about it, Tim. You think the Yankees get a bit of a boost here with the absence of Houck?
I mean, maybe a small boost.
Mr. Richard says in a DK single entry tournament, the stack to win all the dough. What is the stack to win all the dough?
I'm going Milwaukee, Houston.
Okay, I'm turning Mr. Predicto on. We have it. Oh, see, it's like an orb. It's cost a lot of money. Oh, wait. Don't answer the question. I haven't even asked it yet. Hold up. Will Basso have more than 12 DK points? Oh, he's answering the question. We have not practiced this. He's answering the question before. Okay, let me turn it on. The question is, will Basso have more than 12 DK points? Oh, that was succinct. Just a no. Did you hear that, Tim, or no?
What did Predicto say?
No. Like sometimes he gives details. Sometimes he goes into like, well, maybe kind of wishy-washy. But Mr. Predicto just said no. That's it. Just Basso's not going to have more than 12 DK points. So do with that what you will. It's a small sample size, but Mr. Predicto has been pretty good. About 50% right with his yes or no questions. Oh, where's the tater? The people want the tater. Who's going hard tonight?
Ryan Jeffers plus 600, BetMGM, and then where did he go? Oh, and then I'm going to go Willie Adames plus 480 on FanDuel. Yep, and then I think that's it. Just those two.
We have Kirkwood in chat trolling us here. Richard Fitz he's asking about, but there you go. We touched on that. I want to see his prospect status. I don't think he's a big prospect. Yeah, according to Fangraphs, 17th in the organization, 24 years old, 6'3". Maybe Crunch Time can talk more about Fitz here, but I would imagine it's a slight upgrade to the Yankees. He's not like this great pitcher, basically. He pitched, I think, okay against the White Sox, but everybody pitches okay against the White Sox. Is there a fade that you only have like one lineup, right? Basically. So who are you most afraid of not having that the field's going to beat you on?
Dylan Cease.
Yeah, that's that is.
I'm fading him in cash and single entry, so pretty nervous about that one.
Yeah, we were talking earlier in the show about his, just being more vulnerable of late. The Ks being down, the walks being up. It is a good ballpark, but that's just kind of where we're at. We do have maybe Crunch Time can add some color to the Fitz conversation, or maybe it's not even a big deal, just like the Yankees as is. We have Dave Potts, Cheese is Good, Kevin Roth, Chief Mineralogist, and Taylor Smith. Let's go ahead and bring in Crunch Time. The Mr. Predictive bit didn't work, right? Just we couldn't get in line with the timing, unfortunately. Magic 8 Ball's here too, but he talks, which is kind of fun. But he interrupts you in the middle of your question. You have to time it just right, unfortunately. But next time, Kevin, if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to fire off.
I have a question. Is this a bit, or is there really a dude named Dick Fitz?
Yeah. Richard. Yeah.
This is actually happening? This is a real thing? This is not just Kirkwood being a clown?
It's a fair assumption to assume Kirkwood's just being a clown, but leader of the Juggalos. But no, this is the name of the person. Now, it does say Richard on Fangraphs, and I assume that's what he goes by for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But you have to know. Like, who am I to tell somebody what to name their child? But seriously, you got to know, right? How do you not know this when you write? You're not planned? Like, we didn't even think of the name. Oh, no.
No, that was intentional. That was absolutely intentional. Everybody understands. Everybody knows it.
You're setting your child up for failure by doing that. I've never had the responsibility to name a child, but I can't imagine that's the route that would go. But in any event, so yes, Kirkwood is, I guess, correct. There you go. Taking on the Yankees tonight. Have at it. I'm sure Twitter will have some fun with it. How's everything else, Roth? Happy Friday.
Thank you. Happy Friday. Life is good.
Did you have any? Wait, that was officially that was TJ's board. If you were judging anybody, that was TJ's board of sitcoms. If you were
I didn't
curious.
get to see it.
Okay, I was going to say that was egregious beyond belief, but someone not from this country wouldn't understand, so that's fine.
Wait, can we pop it? Is it too late to?
Are you trying to say you're a Big Bang Theory fan?
The only reason to not like that is if it hits too close to home.
What hits too close to home? They don't make any jokes.
You would not understand, DJ. I have nothing to say. You wouldn't understand. It would get lost in translation up north there.
That's like the lowest level of humor I've ever seen in a sitcom.
I believe that you believe that.
Is this your first fight? I think this is your first fight.
TJ is usually pretty sharp. This is a terrible, horrible take.
Big Bang Theory is just
it's hysterical. You might think it's juvenile humor. It's hysterical. Like, funny is funny. I don't know why people have to.
I don't think it's juvenile as much.
What do you think it is? It's funny.
I mean, my dad likes it too.
There you go. Well, he must be a total jabroni too then.
So maybe not. Yeah.
There we go.
I like juvenile humor. It's old man humor. That's my take.
Roth, you want to break the tie? You have a thought on Big Bang Theory, or Taylor?
We're not tied. You were both on my side before. Where are you
guys?
Now
that Cheese is here. Cheese has won me over. He's convinced me.
I've never once seen it.
Yeah,
he's throwing me under the bus.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single episode, so I got nothing.
I have seen Bones though.
You've seen Bones? You're the guy?
Cat's big.
Wow, you've seen Bones? Wow.
Bones is that show that's on like Thursdays before NBA on TNT, like leading into it. So it's like I'll change it over here, and then Bones is on for the last 6 minutes. And then
it's the one with the dude and the chick, and he's like, they work in a morgue or something. They're always examining bodies. Is it that one?
She's a Bones connoisseur.
Yeah,
I
I've
don't
seen
know.
that. Yeah.
I
And it's
think
the
it's the
guy
new
from the show
Charmed.
Angel. I've seen it.
Yeah.
It used to be Charmed. It was Charmed that used to be the one that was like on before or after NBA on TNT. But I think it's Bones now, or Rizzoli and Isles. I don't know. Is that still
Yeah.
is that still on the air? I don't know. But those are the shows I would watch like a minute of, like before and after. Yeah, like you said, watching NBA on TNT. All right. Anything else, boys, before we step aside and get out of here? Well, Tim, me and you, we're going to step aside, make way for crunch time. Do appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications. Roth has some weather to discuss in Atlanta. So I saw you updated it. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about Atlanta in just a second. But yeah, we're going to see ourselves out. Crunch time. You got Dave Potts, TJ producing, Taylor, and Roth. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time. It's two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We got Dave Potts. Cheese is good. Loves him. The Big Bang Theory. How are you, Cheese?
I'm good. Just real quick before we get into all this, I was not here yesterday to tell you how great the weather report was yesterday.
Thank you.
Musings level writing. I think you could do that anytime. Next time I'm unavailable, I'm going to have you fill in and just write weather facts and random fog nickname facts in the musings column. That was fantastic.
Thank you. I'm glad we enjoyed it. You know, you get to a point in the season where you're just trying to mix it up, man. And that's
Exactly
what we ended up with yesterday. We got Taylor in the house as well. Taylor, how are you?
I'm well. I was here last night with you, as you remember, and there was a general lack of enthusiasm for the slate.
Yes.
Happy to report this slate looks better. Like twice as many games, a lot going on. So should be fun. If you tell us about the Atlanta weather, we will be good to go.
Okay. Well, I will do exactly that. But first, I have to do a follow-up on the Richie Fitz that we were talking about, or the Dick Fitz, Richard Fitz. So Richie Smalls in chat says, "My name is Richard Small. My parents are evil." So if you thought Richard Fitz was tough, Richard Small is that's another
a rough one.
man. That's tough. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully we can turn your day around a little, your life around.
Hanging out indeed.
Chat's doing a pretty hilarious job right now. There's even J3's comment of Cheese saying what we already know: Canada doesn't have humor other than Dan Aykroyd. That made me laugh too. Chat's been lights out the last like 20 minutes.
Good stuff, chat. We appreciate it. Hope you guys are fired up on a Friday here. We got a good slate. We got two of the sharpest minds in the industry, and we've got a weather, which probably isn't going to be a problem again. I have lowered Atlanta. I had it as yellow-orange earlier, which was, I think it's going to be okay, but we'll need to see how radar looks. Now I've got it as yellow, and if you put me on the spot and just asked, is there going to be a delay? I would strongly say the overwhelming likelihood is no. They will play the game without any sort of stoppage whatsoever. I won't rule out a delay. It's certainly possible. There's scattered showers around, but everything's really light. Most of it is well south of Atlanta. I think that game looked good. Cheese, do we only want hitters there, or do we want pitchers too?
Just hitters.
Play ball. Absolutely, 100% play ball. It is of no concern and no consequence. And with that out of the way, we can dive into the slate and we can dive into those pitchers. Cheese, what do you like?
All right. It's a wildly interesting slate. I think we need to start by talking about the 4K guy because it all kind of hinges on that. Brady Basso, $4,000 against the White Sox.
Oh, yeah.
White
Yes,
Sox.
please.
And he's made one major league start. It was great, but whatever. But his minor league stat, he's never been anything other than pretty good, if not very good, with a bunch of swings and misses and good control at every level. I think he should be like $8,000, honestly.
Right.
Now, where it gets interesting, we show him at 25% ownership.
No
the
way.
bat's similar. I would be stunned if he's not 50%. And if I knew he was 25%, I would lock button for sure. He's just underpriced. Like now, it's his second start. It's not like we know for sure he could be bad. We don't know anything, but we do know he's underpriced.
Cheese, we had a guy last night that we played who was like his first start, and he was 8K or something, 8.5 or something.
Well, though the different level pitchers, that's like an elite superstar prospect. That guy last night. But again, yes, this guy should be minimum $7,000. Like it's silly. So my lean is that in big field stuff, smaller field stuff, single entry, he'll probably be 60, 70% owned. And in the large field stuff, probably 40 to 50. And I think that's too low. So I'm over that. Even on FanDuel, you don't really need him on FanDuel, but I think he's still one of my favorite pitchers there for 6,000. You can play all the bats. So now you only need one pitcher on DK. I mean, you're free to spend up for two if you really want to. And then the discussion is just as interesting with Dylan Cease in San Francisco. Like Cease is going to easily project the best based on long-term stuff, and the Giants lineup is very beatable even without a couple of good hitters. I'm so nervous about how he's looked recently. I'm vastly underweight on him. I have almost zero. I don't know that that's the right move. I'm certain that playing Basso is the right move. I'm not certain that fading Cease is the right move, but that's what I'm doing. I prefer Kikuchi straight up. I prefer Tanner Bybee, and I prefer Bailey Ober. And that's it. That's my entire pool. That's everything. I have a couple Dylan Cease just because, like, I won't be stunned if he's the guy who puts up the 30 DraftKings points. But I mean, I have like 10% of him. So like almost my entire pool is Kikuchi, Bybee, Ober, and Basso.
Okay, interesting. Taylor, I want to bring you into the equation here as you're looking at this. I mean, are you just lock buttoning the dude against the terrible team who's 4K?
I probably should be, but I'm not, just because there are other good options. So there is a little opportunity cost in theory. I am getting to Cease more than anyone, but not an overwhelming amount, like in the 30-ish% range, just because really there's no one else on the slate that has the same ceiling that he does. Obviously, he's been in rough form. Giants are not the worst lineup ever, but it is a good park. Always good pitching weather in San Francisco. And he's not overwhelmingly expensive. He's 9.4 on DK. So getting to him quite a bit. And then I'm kind of mixing and matching after that. Basso, I do have him quite a bit. Bybee is fine. He's cheap, facing the Rays, high strikeout lineup. One kind of mid-range guy I'm getting to a bit is Gaussman, which never feels good, but matchup against St. Louis isn't the scariest thing in the world, and he's affordable. Kikuchi looks good against the Angels. He might be the one guy who can match Cease's ceiling. We have DeGrom. I don't think you should play him necessarily. I'm playing him a little bit just because it's the Mariners and he's DeGrom. Only issue is he's going to throw like 60-ish pitches maybe at the most. So the ceiling is not really there. It's very similar to the Kumar Rocker thing from last night. Just kind of a dart throw in a tournament. At 8.5, I think he's okay. Logan Webb, kind of a fringy play. I think Eduardo Rodriguez as a punt, a non-4K punt, but still cheap, is decent. But I'm really just kind of living in the Cease, Bybee, Kikuchi range with Basso all the way down. Okay,
quick question from the YouTube. It's an important one. The username, will Kikuchi get funnel caked? Just says, serious question. Will Kikuchi get funnel caked? It's the username and the question all wrapped up in one. Taylor, you don't think so?
I don't think so. The Angels don't have a lot of funnel cakers in the lineup tonight. They have some okay hitters at the top, and then it's a bunch of guys you've never heard of at the bottom. So, yeah, probably not.
I just want to reiterate how horribly off I think ownership is. If you've got 4 dudes in the mid to upper price range and they're all splitting it up, everyone's playing one of those dudes and Basso. That's what everyone's doing.
You're correct.
So like he's going to be 50% owned. It's just
just keep in mind, projected ownership is an algorithm that can't comprehend this situation like in the way that a human can. Like this is just the way the world works. Like
that's fair.
Yeah, the ownership is too low.
Okay, if someone it's too low.
If a human was doing the projected ownership, he'd be at 50 or 60.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. All right, then I recant my rant. Okay, let's talk about the bats and the stacks, because right now, shocker, I know, but I'm making a lineup because I get to play a 4K pitcher. I've got that dude, and I've got a good pitcher. I'm where everyone else is. So how am I getting different, Taylor?
Probably not by playing Coors Field, because the Cubs are in Coors. They should be the chalk. Against Austin Gomber, it's fine. It's just a big slate though, and the Cubs are expensive, so you're not getting different at all if you're playing an expensive pitcher with Basso and the Cubs, or the Rocky. I think the Rockies, obviously, they're not going to be as chalky as the Cubs by default because they never are as chalky as the road team, but I think they're okay. I think the Astros and Twins are two more that are going to be somewhat popular. Houston against Aldegary, the rookie for the Angels, looks good. I don't think we have a lineup yet. Probably pending Altuve news, but even without him, it's a good stack. Enough cheap hitters to offset the expensive ones. Minnesota against Julian Aguilar has not really looked like a major league pitcher yet, but they do have some pinch hit risk with some of their hitters, as always. So there is some risk there with Minnesota, guys like Edward Julian, for example. Beyond that, anything else you do, I think, is pretty different. The Yankees look a bit better now that Richard Fitz is apparently starting for Boston. Teams like Atlanta against Landon Knack, I think, are going to fly under the radar. Dodgers on the other side of that game. I also have some interest in Oakland getting a park boost going into Chicago to face Crochet for a few innings, and then the bullpen of the White Sox. Good power lineup, good park, and all that. Yeah, there are kind of a lot of ways you can go if you don't want to play Coors. You definitely don't have to.
Okay, Cheese, you playing Coors?
I'm considerably underweight on the Cubs. I'm not going to full fade the Cubs. I don't need to. But I have more mini stacks and just one-offs than full stacks. I think they are the top team, but I don't know, it's close-ish. I like Houston and Minnesota basically as much. But like Taylor kind of said, that's the chalk, really, is Cubs, Astros, Twins. So I think you want to just not play like all those three teams kind of mixed together. My favorite teams outside of them are the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. And then we have just this huge mishmash of like pretty good teams, if not really good teams, against pretty good pitchers, if not really good pitchers. And I'm really just sprinkling them all in at about the same rate. That would be like Red Sox, Yankees, Cardinals, Blue Jays, Guardians, Dodgers, Braves. There's more, I think, but that's just what the slate is. It's like all these good teams are facing good pitchers, but they're not like just amazing that can't be beat pitchers. And because there's so few great teams, like I say great, like in great spots against bad pitchers, basically Cubs, Astros, Twins, like it's not asking that much for three teams to just be kind of okay for DFS purposes.
Are the Dodgers, is Schwellenbach good or something? Because I want to play the Dodgers.
Good. He's very good. But they're one of those teams. It's like they can beat anybody.
Yeah.
And he's not as good against lefties. So the Ohtani, Freeman, Muncy is a pretty good starting group.
Okay, good. And that is exactly where I will start. Thank you. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go around the horn. We want to talk position by position. By the way, make sure you hit us with the thumbs up. If you've noticed, this is free content. Two of these people know what they're talking about. One's just a weatherman. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Free content, trying to get it out to the masses, and you can help us out by hitting that thumbs up. Cheese, what are we doing at catcher?
All right. It's a good time to mention it at catcher. If we get Brewers and Astros lineups in, somebody drop those in the chat because they're both kind of relevant, especially at catcher, where William Contreras and Yainer Diaz are probably the top two guys, and they're on those two teams. I assume they'll both play, but theoretically, both teams are going to use two catchers, with Gary Sanchez and Victor Caratini being cheaper options, and I really like all four of those guys. I also like Hunter Goodman as a salary saver. And then I kind of like Austin Wells and Shea Langelier in the mid-tier.
Taylor?
Yeah, Hunter Goodman looks great. He's cheap. He's a pretty good power hitter. He's in Coors. No real reason not to like him tonight. Langelier as well. Getting to some Darno a little bit in Brave stacks. Otherwise, it's just pure stack. Bo Naylor if you want to get to Cleveland. Austin Wells for the Yankees. Yainer Diaz, of course. But yeah, I don't have a very deep catching pool tonight.
Okay, then take me to first base.
First base. Team, he's in the lineup as a decent cheapie. You can also play Yainer Diaz here. Carlos Santana for the Twins is a nice value as well. All the way at the top, of course, you have Ohtani, you have Freeman. Cheese mentioned Schwellenbach not being very good against lefties. Those are pretty good lefties, I think. I don't know Michael Puglia for the Rockies in those stacks. Eric Wagaman, one of those creative player angels, if you want to go all the way down and stack against Kikuchi, which is not an insane thing to do, at least a mini stack. He's 2K flat on DK. First base, outfield eligible. Michael Busch and Coors, but lefty on lefty. He shouldn't be too popular as a result, but not my favorite thing. And then, Andrew Vaughn, maybe if you want to go against Basso, but it's the White Sox. So don't blame me if you don't.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts at first.
It's every bit as enjoyable as I dreamt it would be to hear a person say Wagaman. Because I looked at his name all day. I was like, there's an A after the G, right? It's there, yeah. Okay. So Ohtani and Freeman are pretty good spend-ups, but not like super high priority plays either. I think Santana is probably the cash game salary saver if you want to do that. I like Josh Naylor a lot. I'm playing a fair amount of Matt Olson and Michael Toglia. On FanDuel, we have a whole bunch of Cubs at first base with Bellinger and Paredes joining Busch there. So I think you probably play a Cubs bat in cash on the FanDuel side. And Rhys Hoskins as well.
Okay. How about second?
This is kind of, as usual, the weakest spot on the board. And also, as usual, a little better on FanDuel, at least like Jazz Chisholm and Mookie Betts and Willie Castro all added in at second. And Ketel Marte, not as crazy expensive. The cheap guy that people are going to be playing is Edward Julian. He's always a very high pinch hit risk, but he's also 3,100 leading off. And if he wasn't a pinch hit risk, he'd be 4,500. So it's priced in, and he's still a pretty good play for that salary. I'm okay with Torres instead of him. I've got a little Zach Geloff instead of him as well. But this is pretty much the throw a guy in your stack position more than any other.
Okay. Taylor, your thoughts there?
Yeah, it really is. Nico Horner's 5-1, which is a lot to pay for Nico Horner, but in a Cub stack, no problem with that. Like the Geloff call, Edward Julian, pinch hit risk, like he said. Brendan Rodgers is one of the second basemen I'm getting to the most in the Rockies stack. And if you want to punt with Lennon Sosa, I guess you can, but again, it's the White Sox, so by far, or far from a must to do that.
Okay. How about third base?
Third base, we have Paredes here on DK for 4.9 in the Cub stack. I don't mind Ryan McMahon against Assad in the Colorado stack. If we get Dubon in the lineup, he's a nice punt on DK. Third base outfield eligible for the Astros. Bregman, same thing. I think we have him projected to lead off with Altuve questionable. Good play regardless against the lefty for the Angels. Other than that, I don't see a lot to love. Yeah, that's probably it for me at third base.
Okay. Cheese, your thoughts at third?
I love the spend ups here. Ramirez and Lewis are my two favorites, but very closely followed by Devers, Jazz, Paredes, Muncy, and McMahon. Like, that's a lot of good players. And because salary is just kind of sitting around, I do have a lot of Ramirez and Lewis, and not a lot of cheap stuff.
Okay.
So I'm not even going to name the cheap stuff.
Okay. No need. Take me to shortstop.
In cash games, just play Swanson. But in tournaments, I much prefer Willie Adames at that salary. Or I like spending up for Tovar and Ellie De La Cruz to be a little different. We don't have a lot of the usual spend up guys on this slate, which kind of leaves Ellie all by himself. But against a good pitcher like Ober, I kind of think nobody's going to play him. And so I'm making sure to get to a little bit of him. But for the most part, I'm playing Adames or a cheaper twin, Castro or Brooks Lee.
Taylor, your thoughts are short.
Yeah, a lot of Swanson, a lot of Tovar, like the Ellie De La Cruz thing against Ober. Zach Neto is one of the only decent Angels hitters, hitting second for 4,500. I don't mind that. Going against Kikuchi. Tommy Edman, a lefty against Schwellenbach, I think is a decent value. Shortstop, outfield eligible on DK. And we have the Schneemann leading off now that Kwan was scratched for Cleveland. I think he's okay. Probably going to be somewhat popular as a result, but not the worst cheapie to consider.
Take me to the outfield.
In the outfield, we have quite a few Cubs. Suzuki being the headliner from the right side against Gomber. PCA and Bellinger are lefties. I don't think they'll be super popular as a result, lefty on lefty. And Gomber's obviously not pitching the whole game, so they're okay. Yordan Alvarez might be the top overall guy here, assuming he's in the lineup for Houston. Even lefty on lefty. He and Tucker both hit lefties exceptionally well. Don't mind Atlanta, like I said, against Landon Knack, Michael Harris, and Jorge Soler at the top of their lineup. Ozuna as well as a spend. Can always play the Yankees, especially now that Tanner Houck is out. Soto and Judge being the obvious headliners there. Ian Happ, I forgot to mention for Chicago too, hitting from the right side against Gomber. And then Taylor Ward maybe as a one-off or in that Angels mini stack. And Brenton Doyle, probably the headliner in the Colorado outfield.
Okay, Cheese, your thoughts in the old outfield.
Yeah. Taylor's in top form today. Just rattling through names. You got to Wagaman and then just PCA, like everybody knows what he's talking about. That's Pete Crow Armstrong.
Baby.
Yeah,
Everybody knows.
But he's just like
PCA,
rolling through it. It's incredible. Very well done. I like most of the same stuff that he named. I also quite like Brent Rooker as a spend up. I am playing a lot of Milwaukee, so I have Churio in a fair amount of lineups, and also the Arizona outfielders, mostly in stacks, and also throwing a little Adolis Garcia in the mix.
Okay. Good stuff, gentlemen. The people want some home run calls, and I have a question, like a lineup building question, Cheese. I've got 3,300 left, and the only spot that I don't love and don't have anything is catcher. Is there a one-off catcher where I can find something decent at 3,300?
3,300. Yeah. So Hunter Goodman. You play for the home run.
There we go. Wonderful. Okay, done. Locked it in. That lineup is winning a bunch of money. Okay, let's talk about some home run calls. Let's see. Taylor, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I forgot to mention Matt Wallner in the outfield. I think he's a decent play and a good bet for a home run. Let's go a little bit lower with Taylor Ward. I mentioned him for the Angels. And then let's keep the Hunter Goodman theme going and say Hunter Goodman.
Okay, Cheese, a few names.
Brenton Rooker, Willie Adames, and Jordan Beck.
Those are a few names. Excellent done. Excellent done. Excellent done, Cheese. We got a few questions coming in, but before we get to those questions, we got to pay the bills. NFL Premium right now, it's on sale. Someone just asked yesterday, is NFL Premium on sale? It is. You can get your first month of I've got it. Don't worry. NFL Premium, $15 off. 6-month combo subscription, exclusive price, $469.99. That'll save you $250 instead of buying 6 individual months of combo premium. If you are not a fan of commitment, 1 month of RG combo premium is $120. Or if you just want a test run, dip your toes in the water, 3-day pass, still the outrageous price of $19.99. Everything in the world just keeps getting more and more expensive. And that 3-day pass for $19.99 just keeps staying the same price. And it is a glorious thing. Let's dive into the QQs, starting with some RG Discord. FanDuel GPP, Taylor, is Bybee in a twin stack okay? Or is it too chalky?
Might be too chalky. Bybee's quite cheap on FanDuel, so he'll probably be the most popular pitcher. And then the Twins we've talked about. being one of those chalk offenses, but it looks good on paper at least, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, someone talked me off an Oakland stack in FanDuel single entry. I just don't see Crochet going more than 2 innings, and the Chicago bullpen is, and I quote, cheeks.
I like an Oakland stack. I mean, I don't know why you would expect only 2 innings for Crochet, but even at 4 innings, that's still 5 innings against that bullpen. I would not talk you off an Oakland stack. I would play them.
There you go. Okay. Cheese, I'm coming right back to you here. Jib says, best Stone Men FanDuel play. Is it Ramos, Sagesi, or Wagamama?
I guess Ramos.
Okay. That's disappointing because he was the only normal name there. I was hoping for Sagesi or Wagamama. NBA DFS says Taylor, McMahon, Freeman, or Bregman, FanDuel Cash. McMahon, Freeman, or Bregman, FanDuel Cash. Obviously, that's the util.
I think you're supposed to play Bregman, but I think I would play Freeman.
Okay. We still have 16, 17-ish minutes until lock. Plenty of time to get your questions in. They can certainly be about baseball. They can be about dinner. And if we start running out of questions, we'll open it up to generic NFL.
Yeah. Sheldon Cooper questions are fine.
Yeah, Big Bang questions.
I was literally just going to come in and make the same joke.
Yeah. I love that for you guys.
If Mrs. Cheese was here, I would bring her on the show. She is the world's biggest Big Bang fan ever.
So have
that's all she listens
I would
to.
not argue near as fiercely to Mrs. Cheese.
I know you wouldn't. Yeah,
I would have come in a lot more respectfully.
Yeah. She would have you on her side in no time.
Is there a spin-off now where there's like a baby Sheldon?
Young,
Isn't that a thing?
young Sheldon.
Yeah,
That's
Young
already
Sheldon, which is
ended,
now
actually.
over.
That's coming on.
So TJ, for Mrs. Cheese's 40th birthday, I got a cutout stand-up Sheldon Cooper character to come hang out at her birthday party. That's how much she loves that show.
It's kind of amazing. All right.
Fair.
More QQs. Jar Dog says Cheese, Suzuki, Rooker, or Churio. Cheerio.
Say those again.
Yeah, it was Suzuki, Rooker, or Cheerio.
Suzuki, if you don't have a super chalky lineup.
Cheese, do you like churros?
I mean, sure, but like, I mean, I might have one every 3 years, and I don't think, I got to have this again soon.
Yeah, Taylor, you're not aggressively. You were excited to hear the word churro. You are a churro fan.
Yeah, they sound good now that you mention them. Like the minis with a little dipping sauce. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Of course, anything that is just like fried dough with sugar and cinnamon is kind of you can't miss really on that one. Let's see. What time does the slate start? I believe 5 after. We got a Yankees game, and they usually start at 5 after. So 5 after is your time. What else do we have? Brendan says, Taylor, Breggy and Alvarez or Paredes and Suzuki? It is a DK cash question.
Paredes, Suzuki. That's the right answer.
Well, we've got a follow-up that may be important because it is also for cash. And the question is 1v1 Paredes or Suzuki?
Suzuki.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Cheese coming to you, J-Ram or Churio?
J-Ram.
Cheese, are the Brewers going to be popular? Robbie says they look good.
I don't think they'll be popular. I think the catcher spot and Adames will be somewhat popular, but otherwise, no.
Okay. Joe opening things up. He says some ice cream banter would be fun. If you ever want to learn and know the correct takes on ice cream, this is your show for it because that's your man right there. Has consumed more ice cream than any other human that I know, at least. And that's pretty good. That's something to be proud of, Cheese.
Yeah, maybe. Allegedly. Yeah.
I'm a big McDonald's fan, and I used to be on like a huge McDonald's kick in college and in grad school. And at one point I went to McDonald's so often that it was around Christmas time. I hope I haven't told the story. And the lady at the drive-thru, as I pulled up, goes, "Oh, I've been waiting for you," and gave me a Christmas gift. Like, do you know how much McDonald's you have to consume to get a Christmas gift from the lady in the drive-thru?
So that is Mrs. Cheese level at Chick-fil-A. Last year, I went to Chick-fil-A to get her breakfast. And when I came up and got it, the lady at the window said, "Oh, we have a lady that comes every day and gets that exact order." I said, "Yeah, this is for her."
Yep, that's my wife.
You're Laura's husband. Where is she today?
That's amazing. Let's see. Taylor, kicking it to you. Andrew says over or Bybee, single entry and 20 mats. PS, thoughts on Vladdy?
Not really on Toronto today, but Vlad's the guy, kind of guy you can play any day and feel okay about it. I would take Bybee over for the record.
Okay. Diamondbacks, Taylor, as a stack. What do you think?
Yeah, they're going to be completely overlooked, and it's a good offense. So sure.
Okay. Dean wants to know what the gift was. Good question. It was a generic. It was an ornament. It didn't feel personalized. It felt like a regift, but still, there it was. My name on a gift from the lady at the drive-thru.
Did you go? Is it the kind of thing where you become known at McDonald's and then you like kind of mix in going to the other local McDonald's just so you don't go quite as often?
100%. Yeah, it was getting embarrassing, especially when I would go like twice in one day. Like you see the same lady twice. You're like, oh, I'm back. Hey there, me again. Let's see. Cheese, Ward or Harris, FanDuel Cash?
Harris.
Okay. Cheese, a churro and ice cream combo. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I will say I've never had that because I've so rarely had a churro. But yeah, I would say go for it. Yeah, it sounds very good.
Yeah. I think in Spain,
try that sometime.
I think it's Spain or maybe Portugal. They dip their churros in hot chocolate.
It's a weird thing to know, but
I was there and they were like, "You want to dip your churros in hot chocolate?" Oh, hell yeah, I do. That sounds awesome. Yeah, like, all right, I'm in. Taylor, J-Ram or Devers? Who you got?
Ramirez.
Okay. Jumping back into the Discord, I apologize to my Discord fam. I was slacking a little bit there. DK cash pairing. Taylor, you want Kikuchi and Basso for a cash pairing?
I think you can do that. It's not the safest route necessarily, but it's a 4K guy facing the White Sox. Otherwise, I would say Kikuchi and Bybee would be the next best thing.
Okay. Cheese, I'm coming to you. It is FanDuel single entry, Wilson of the Oakland variety, and Jazz, or Volpe and Butler.
I will answer that, but I would also say, I'm assuming you're doing an Oakland Yankees kind of double stack. And that's the point where I would not worry about double stacking to get those combos in there. Like you can just get better players. But if that's what you want to do, I would lean to the Wilson Jazz side.
Okay, great. We'll go to Blink 182. He says, Roth, can you speak on indoor humidity slightly? Over the past few weeks, I've been digging into stadium weather and noticed indoor humidity listed when I looked up Chase Field for the Arizona Diamondbacks. In theory, a place that is just generally dry outside, like a desert, like in Arizona, would have lower humidity, even indoors, because what is outside comes inside. But also, I in all of the things that matter and all the different factors we look at, that's not gonna. I don't think indoor humidity is going to be moving the needle. Cheese, is that something you look at? You factor in the indoor humidity?
I think it's wild to even consider that. Like it's if you find that interesting to look at, great. But like to consider using that for DFS, I think is way past the point.
Yeah. Cheese barely looks at the weather, the actual legitimate God's to like the actual weather. Is it 95 or 65? Cheese cares about this much, and he's pretty damn good. Is that fair to say, Cheese?
I mean, yeah, I certainly care about extremes, but yeah, like the difference between 72 degrees and 76 degrees, like if that's moving your needle on a DFS play, you're in a weird spot.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Steve says, hey, Ross, should I be concerned with the wind blowing in Atlanta? I love the Dodgers lefties. So I'm stacking the Dodgers lefties as well. So I am not concerned. Let me see what the current wind is in Atlanta, and I'll see if I talk us both off of it. But my guess is I will not.
No matching historical games.
Has there ever been?
Atlanta. Yeah.
Has there ever been? I'm so fed up. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but I'm pretty fed up with that whole situation. I'm going to say no. I'm not overly concerned. I wish it was blowing out, but it's not. That's what we got. Where else are we here? FanDuel MME Cheese, Beck in a Colorado stack and Horowitz, or Brendan Rodgers in a Colorado stack and William Contreras.
Rogers.
Finally got a Houston lineup.
Altuve did, in fact, make it. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Altuve, Alvarez, Diaz, Tucker, Bregman, Pena, Caratini, Myers, and Dubon. Cheese, did you answer that one? I'm sorry. It was Beck, Horowitz, or Brendan Rodgers and William Contreras.
Yeah, Rogers Contreras.
Okay, guys, we have 7-ish minutes until we hit lock. Taylor, better one-off FanDuel single entry, J-Ram or Alvarez?
It's Alvarez. Generally, I think Ramirez is going to be significantly less popular, but I would still lean Alvarez.
Okay, got my guy Emac in the house. I didn't see that. What's up, Emac? I miss you. First guy I ever did a show with was Emac. We did show. This was 10 years ago, maybe. Shout out, good people. Let's see. Cheese. Actually, Taylor, jumbo soft pretzel is warm cheese sauce or spicy mustard the play? That is a great question. Taylor, you going with a warm cheese or a spicy mustard?
I think you cannot go wrong either way, and I am a cheese fan in general, but I think spicy mustard is slightly better for that dish.
Okay, Cheese, do you have a take on this? You wouldn't dip it in cheese.
Nor spicy mustard. I'll pass on either. So you'd have to just go with your own gut on that one.
Yeah. Whenever I see this, it's like, oh, soft pretzel with beer cheese. I'm like, I love cheese. I love beer. I'm going to get this. And then I taste it. I'm like, I don't like beer cheese. I don't know what beer cheese is, but I would prefer beer and cheese and not.
It's weird how often they can mix two things that you like together and that thing then becomes bad.
Yeah. I don't know. If it was just like nacho cheese, that sounds better than whatever your fancy beer cheese is at numerous establishments. It's not just a one-off. Any love, Cheese, for a St. Louis stack?
Love is definitely not the word. They are on my board in that big, huge tangle of about 10 teams that I like after my top 5.
Okay. Let's see what else we've got. Scrolling down. Okay, Taylor, Vladdy or Spencer Horowitz?
Always Vladdy.
It's a good answer. Hey, we're running out of questions, guys. We've got about 5 minutes until lock. If you've got questions about food, baseball, Big Bang Theory, or beer cheese, which is a type of food, bring them on in. Pistachio and ice cream. Travis says one of those things that just doesn't mix. Pistachio, ice cream. Cheese, do you agree? You get all ice cream questions.
It's not my favorite. Like, I'll eat it. But yeah, that's not going to be one of my go-tos.
Butter pecan, though. You about that life?
That's one of the classics. Yeah.
It's so good. I don't even know what it is. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's hard to explain what's happening there. Yeah.
But it's just something good about it. It's like, yeah, this is it.
I made butter pecan coffee today and it was fantastic.
What do you mean? Be more
Thank you.
in depth.
Like the blend is butter pecan flavor. It's Dunkin', I think, and just add a black and it's good on the
like you bought already ground coffee, butter pecan.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because I make lattes now in my fancy coffee machine. I wonder if there's a butter pecan like syrup that I could go look into. That.
Gotta be.
Almost definitely. Yeah. Like there's a little Starbucks syrup that they would, that exists.
Go check.
Taylor, Assad as a GPP pitcher on FanDuel, any interest?
Nope.
Okay. That was quick. That was easy. What else do we have? A few more questions coming. How channel caked is Cease going to get? Cheese thinks maybe a little channel caked. Taylor thinks not very. Is that accurate?
I don't think he's going to get channel caked. I just think he's not one of the best pitchers to spend up on. Like, it's not that I think he's going to get shelled or anything.
Okay.
I mean, I think he gives up 3 runs in 5 innings.
Along with us just randomly naming players French, the fact that we've just established that channel caking is a real thing when it firmly is not. It's not a word. But we go about like that's a normal question. Is he going to get channel caked? Let's see. Showtime pitching in the playoffs. What? This is a lie, right? Is Shohei pitch? This is a lie.
I haven't heard that until just now.
I saw maybe out of the bullpen, but
And it seems like I don't know why they would do that, but it would be fascinating.
Okay, so they're leaving the door open. Wouldn't put it past him. Why not? These are all like, I don't know. That would be so sick. I really hope so. I really hope so. I agree, Cheese. Like, I don't think they
And
should.
if the news is they have not ruled it out, like whoop-de-doo, like they haven't
Probably
ruled
not.
out anything.
Yeah,
Um,
but also, like, in the playoffs, you bring him in like the 7th or 8th inning, and he just
Well,
throws
the
100
thing,
miles
like,
per hour.
I don't think he's throwing at all. Like, you don't want to just
Yeah,
pull a guy who
that's
hasn't
true.
thrown a single pitch in a year in
Yeah.
the playoffs for the first time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not happening. All right, what else do we have? Taylor, why Diaz? Yandy Diaz or Olsen FanDuel Cash? He says Diaz in a great spot in the order between Alvarez and Tucker.
yeah, Yainer Diaz. That was cash.
It was FanDuel Cash.
Yeah, I'd go Diaz.
Okay. True DFS says he has thrown every 5 days.
Since when? Like, when did he start? I haven't looked at any of this. If that's like, when did he start throwing? If you have that information, this is all news to me. Interesting news.
Yeah. Hammer says for 700 mil, he should pitch, manage, and drag the field. No, he should just keep hitting. He should just keep doing what he's doing. He's doing pretty good. We are less than 2 minutes. Apparently, he's been doing BP work since just before the All-Star break. Cheese is the answer.
Well, if he's been throwing that long, then I would consider it. I would want to see him pitch in the regular season first. Like, if they're considering it, they got to get him some actual innings.
Agreed. You don't want him just going out there in the biggest moment of the season, not having
Right.
pitched.
But, like, I'm absolutely rooting for it. Like,
Yeah,
that would be
definitely.
just fantastic baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's going to be so fun when he's pitching. He's already so fun. I just randomly, like the 50-50 thing, that's actually going to happen, hopefully.
Looks like it. Yeah.
It's never happened. Well, how long's baseball been going on? 120 years or something stupid? Like forever?
He's good
Forever.
at baseball.
Forever. And he's just, I'm just going to be the first person to ever do this. It's freaking amazing. I love that dude. We are moments, seconds even, until lock. Now's a good time to remind everybody watching the show was free, and it was a damn good one. Smash that like button for us. Alfonso says, hey, guys, we've had this conversation before, and we have had this conversation before, and Breyers used to make a butter almond ice cream, which was amazing. Sure, butter pecan is great. I believe that butter almond is.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. I believe it, man. All right, the good shows, great shows are all coming in. We appreciate it. Smash that like button for us. I think we are going to bounce on out of here. So for Taylor and for Cheese and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.